Alright, a lot of people have asked this question. Let me show you on the dash. You have a exhaust fan. You can hear it come on when I kick it on. The exhaust fan is used simply to evacuate any exhaust gas or any fumes out of the engine compartment before you get ready to crank the motors. What you'll do before you start, as your kind of your walk around process, turn the exhaust fan on and let it exhaust any fumes out of the engine bay. If you notice, you have black hoses here. Those hoses are actually attached to the fan, so when the fan comes on, that'll actually vent the air out, and up underneath the rear backrest, if you notice on the swim platform, that's where the exhaust gases go. A lot of people, before they go on the boat, will actually, or before they go out on the water, they'll open the engine compartment, and that way any other gases that may be in there escape quickly. It's a precaution. I've never had an issue with that, but just so that you're aware, that's what that switch does. It turns on your fans and evacuates those gases. I'm gonna shut this back down. I'll show you the flush outs. Yamaha boats are pretty exclusive in the fact that you can flush out the boat without actually leaving the cockpit area. You notice on the right and left side you have these flush points, both right side and left side. And that's great because when you get on the boat, you just simply bring the hose in with you. I always have it crimped off. Yamaha gives you a flush out nozzle, which I'll show you. It's a simple nozzle like this. It comes with the boat, and that's all you need. So what you'll do is you'll take this, you'll screw it on the end of your garden hose. I crimp off the line. Of course, I've got full pressure, but there's nothing coming out when you have it crimped. Start the motor, and then hook up this nozzle to the corresponding flush out point. It's a simple quick turn. It's a quarter turn to the right. And once you get it in and the water's running, let it go. The proper procedure, for those of you that don't know, is engine on, water off, engine off. And never do it any other way than that. You don't want water running into the motors without having the engines running. It can cause serious issues, and you just don't need that. So again, like I said, engine on, water off, engine off. You do both motors. And one other thing too we don't recommend, when you're getting ready to flush this, don't build yourself a Y contraption and try to run both engines at the same time. What happens is if you have a motor that shuts down on you, you a lot of times don't realize the motor has shut down. So you need to do this one at a time. Also too, you need to have maximum pressure, especially for those of you that are boating in salt water, because if you do that, you're going to run a better chance of getting any excess salt that's inside the engine out as a result of that higher pressure. All right, moving around to this side here, we'll look at is a storage compartment on the right. The storage compartment this year, they've actually integrated a cooler, which is great, because last year they didn't really have a functional cooler on the 230 models. It was in the front of the boat, and to be honest with you, it was just kind of hard to get to, and people didn't use it very often. So this is something you could take to and from the boat when you're going to the beach or whatever. It also has a cutout, if you'll focus in here, there's a cutout on the floor. So it has somewhere to sit, and it doesn't shift around a lot when you're underway. Get a shot back here in the back. There's the freshwater tank. So when you're looking at, filling your tank up back there for the shower, that's the location and placement of your tank. If you buy an AR series or SX series boat, that's where they'll mount your water once you do the upgrade. And you can do that. Yamaha actually stocks it. They have it in the catalog, and I don't know the pricing off the top of my head, but I do know it's available. Captain's chair. When you look at the 242 series boats, they've upgraded the upholstery, and I always tell folks this is a big part of why people buy the upgraded boat. It has an upgraded luxurious interior. You have a bigger pad here, so if you notice the thickness of this, when you're riding, I do a lot of standing, so I'll move the seat back and I'll flip the bolster up so you can stand without having to have it hit you in the back of the legs. But also too, when you're sitting, it makes for a nice comfortable seat, and you can see over the windshield. If you notice my head right now, I don't have to look through the glass, I'm actually looking over, and it's comfortable. That's a feature that you'll see on the 242 Limited S and 242 Limited. The rest of the upholstery, if you notice the bolster here on the side, all this stuff here is so much thicker. The padding is better, it's just a better overall layout than what you'll find on the other boats. They're great, but this just gives you another touch of luxury with the colors. It's like an off-white color along with a tan, but also too, it's just more plush, and you'll see that all the way around the boat. Moving over to the engine now, or to the helm area now. Notice on the 242 Limited S and 242 Limited boats, you get the upgraded steering wheel. They've done that to just give you an extra touch. They've also upgraded the panels on the dash, just a little more luxurious looking. I'll show you now a couple of things that people have asked me in the past just to make some explanation. On the throttles, you have independent throttles on a Yamaha boat, so you can go forward together, you can go rearward together, you can also cut the engines in opposite directions, and that gives you a lot more control if you're in a slow speed environment, or even if you're trying to maneuver around a dock or trailer, just so that you're aware. Also too, on the side of the throttle there's a button. You notice that button I'm pressing there? If I want to advance this throttle while I'm in the water, but I don't want the boat to move, I'll simply press the button. That disengages the reverse gate we talked about earlier, and that allows me to advance the throttle while I'm technically in neutral. That's basically what that feature was used for. On the lower side here, you'll notice you've got a lanyard. The lanyard's in place basically to just keep the engine from continuing to run if the driver is thrown overboard. You'll clip this to your life jacket or belt or whatever, just as long as you have that attached to you while you're underway. If this is pulled loose, it will kill the motors. On the driver's side, you have two cup holders here, and this year they added a pocket for storage, so if you want to put a cell phone or anything else you need to keep close by at hand, there's a pocket there in place. Something that we're pretty excited about this year also too, if you notice, they've changed the no wake switches. No wake mode switches are gone now. They have a cruise control feature now, which doubles up as your no wake switches. You get a 3-stage no wake mode now, so instead of having one no wake speed, which is about 5 miles an hour last year, it now goes to 3 distinct different speeds: slow, medium, fast. And I want to say it's going to range anywhere from 3 to 6 or 7 miles an hour depending on which one you choose. As you're in the water at idle power, press the no wake switch or the cruise control switch positive once. That takes you to the first stage. Press it the second time, it takes you to the second stage. Press it the third time, takes you to the third stage. In order to activate your cruise control, you'll need to actually power up, choose your desired speed above 3,000 RPMs, and the key there is above 3,000 RPMs. The cruise does not work under 3,000 RPMs, you need to understand that. But once you get it up to, let's say, 5,000 RPM or so, and you hit the positive button or the plus button, that's going to set your cruise. It's not based off of a speed control. It's not like Perfect Pass. What it does is it sets an RPM control. So it's going to maintain a consistent RPM across the spectrum. If you're out cruising and you want to go a little faster, just press the button one time. That increases your RPMs. I believe it's by 200 RPMs each time you press it. You can also decrease in the same way. And they give you the ability to do that 8 times to the positive and 8 times to the negative of wherever you decide to set the power at. So it's a really cool feature. I've really found that when I'm in choppy water, if I'm trying to advance the throttle just a little bit, it can be difficult if you're really getting kind of banged around, and that makes it easier. Or if you're trying to bring the power down smoothly without chopping the throttles, that's the same thing. It makes it a lot easier. On the dash now, they've put your 12-volt accessory plug here, so that's really easy to get to. You have an MP3 auxiliary jack now, which is nice in case you don't have an iPod. They give you the jack built-in standard. You have a tilt steering as before. On the left-hand side, you still have your keys in the same place and your switch in the same place. They also give you a cup holder this year. We talked earlier about the ocean LED lights. This is an accessory switch we installed for the lights particularly. That's not here normally. That's an upgraded feature we put on the boat. They give you an anti-skid area here, and that's for putting anything else like a cell phone or a radio or whatever in place so it's not sliding around. The radio this year is of particular importance. This is a big time upgrade for the 242 Limited and 242 Limited S. If you notice on the faceplate, first off, this is a marine grade radio, so it's all watertight. You can spray this with your garden hose and not worry about ruining the radio. It's also XM satellite ready, and it also has dual zones, which means you can control zones independently, which is a really nice feature.